So I want you to imagine something for a second. Just, put yourself right there in this scenario.
Okay, I'm ready.
You wake up on this gorgeous luxury yacht, right? You're right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
This is pretty good so far.
Yeah, I mean, the morning sun is warm, there's a gentle sea breeze, you hear the wood creaking, but then you step out of your cabin, you walk across the deck, and you look over the railing, and the water is just gone.
Right, and we're not talking about it just receding like a tide. It is completely vanished.
Vanished. Totally replaced by this endless, barren, muddy desert that just stretches out as far as your eye can see.
It's a terrifying thought.
It really is. And that is the deeply unsettling premise of the sci-fi survival film Survive, and that's exactly what we are getting into in today's deep dive.
I am so excited to talk about this one.
Yeah, our mission today is to really unpack this sudden, catastrophic polar shift. We're going to follow the harrowing journey of one family as they try to navigate this totally lethal, newly exposed ocean floor.
And, it's important to establish right away that while the catalyst here is this massive, world-breaking catastrophe like shifting magnetic poles and vanishing oceans, this really isn't your typical broad-scale disaster movie.
Right. You don't see the president or, generals in a war room looking at big screens.
Exactly. It is a gritty, highly claustrophobic story. It focuses on extreme moral choices, and really it's about a mother's psychological transformation when the fundamental rules of reality just change overnight.
And it really is a crucible for her. But, before the world breaks, we get this incredibly tense calm before the storm.
Yeah, that setup is so well done.
It is. So we're introduced to this family of four celebrating a birthday out on this yacht. We have Tom, the father, who is an ocean explorer, Julia, the mother, who's a doctor.
Right.
Then there's Cassie, their teenage daughter, and Ben, who is turning 13.
And they are just completely isolated, right? They're just enjoying this vacation. They give Ben his birthday gifts. He gets a laptop, a slightly creepy Halloween mask from his sister, and most importantly, Julia gives him this protective bracelet.
Oh, the bracelet!
Yeah, she tells him it's to ward off evil. And on the surface, it just feels like a standard sentimental mother-son moment. But hold on to that detail, because that bracelet functions as a massive emotional anchor later in the story.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because the film does this brilliant job of dripping in these subtle, eerie anomalies before all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, the tension building is great.
Like Julia decides to go for a swim. She's just floating there in the ocean, and suddenly she feels this strange, incredibly powerful pull in the water.
Just out of nowhere.
Right. She can't explain it. It's just this visceral, physical drag. And then back on the boat, Tom notices the compass is malfunctioning completely. It's just spinning.
And at the same time, Cassie is on a phone call with her boyfriend back on land.
Yeah. And right as this freak, massive storm hits his city, the call just drops dead.
The tension here is masterful, really. The characters don't have the big picture yet, but as the audience, we know something foundational is breaking down. I mean, the ocean itself starts rejecting them.
Yeah, it's like nature sounding the alarm.
Exactly. Out of nowhere, these panicking whales surface and surround the boat. And when Tom dives under to check the hull, he finds massive shark damage. He actually injures his arm on the propeller because he's frantically trying to swim away from something huge moving in the deep water.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the scene that really forces the viewer to confront the scale of the disaster happens that night.
Oh, the meteor shower scene.
Yes. The family is on the deck, and they see all these streaks of light raining down from the sky. Initially, they think it's this beautiful meteor shower.
Which is a natural assumption.
Right. But then the realization sets in that these aren't meteors at all. These are man-made satellites crashing down to Earth because the planet's magnetic field is failing.
It's such a chilling realization.
But wait, let me ask you, why would a failing magnetic field make satellites literally fall out of the sky? I mean, magnets don't hold them up in orbit, do they?
That's a really great question, and it's where the sci-fi logic of the film is quite clever.
Okay.
So in the film's universe, the sudden, violent shift in the magnetic poles doesn't just strip away our protection from solar radiation. It radically alters the atmospheric density and gravitational poles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Earth's atmosphere essentially expands or shifts, creating sudden atmospheric drag on low-orbit satellites. They lose their orbital velocity, they burn up, and they come crashing down.
So our tech is basically being swatted out of the sky by a changing atmosphere.
Precisely. And what's fascinating here is how the film uses the contrast between animal instinct and human technological arrogance.
And that's a good point.
Right. The whales, the sharks, they are the ultimate early warning system. They have magnetoreception. The natural world physically feels the impending magnetic collapse and panics. Meanwhile, humanity is completely blind.
We're just looking at our phones.
Exactly. We don't notice a thing until our highest technological achievements are literally raining down in flames. Nature knew, but our tech failed.
Which brings us to the morning after. The family wakes up, and the yacht is just sitting on a dry seabed. There are dying fish everywhere. The ocean is simply gone.
It's just a shocking visual.
It really is. Tom checks that compass again, and it's completely reversed. North is south. He realizes a sudden polar shift has occurred. But my question is, how does a magnetic shift drain an entire ocean?
Well, the film's premise relies on the idea that the tectonic plates and the Earth's rotational dynamics are deeply tied to its magnetic field.
Okay.
So when the poles snap, the gravitational and centrifugal forces shift so violently that the water is displaced. It's just drawn away to other parts of the globe, leaving this particular ocean floor completely bare.
That is wild, and it's not a quiet apocalypse either. There is this relentless, deafening, screeching sound filling the air. It causes severe nausea and these splitting headaches for the family.
Yeah, that sound is one of the most terrifying details in the film.
Yeah.
It's not just noise.
Yeah.
It's the sound of the tectonic plates grinding beneath them, combined with massive atmospheric pressure changes.
Ugh, sounds miserable.
It's a complete sensory nightmare. They are stranded in an alien landscape that used to be their playground. And in the midst of this absolute sensory overload, Ben, being an innocent 13-year-old, takes his birthday balloons and releases them into the sky.
Right.
He thinks he's signaling for help.
Yeah, he's just a kid doing what kids do. Meanwhile, Tom actually manages to get the radio working just enough to contact a researcher named Now.
Now, right?
And Now is stationed in a small reinforced submarine somewhere out on the seabed. But Now delivers the most devastating news imaginable. The magnetic fields are going to revert in about a week.
Which means the displaced ocean is going to violently return to exactly where it was.
Exactly. The only way to survive the crushing apocalyptic force of the returning water is inside Now's reinforced sub. And it's a 2 to 3 day trek across this exposed, dangerous seabed to get there. But here is the kicker, and this just shattered me when I watched it. Neo's submarine only has room for 3 people, total, and Now is already in there.
That leaves exactly 2 seats.
For a family of 4.
Yeah, the math is brutal.
Tom and Julia, though, they don't even hesitate. They beg Now over the radio to just take their 2 children. They know right then and there they are walking to their own graves.
It's incredibly heavy.
I mean, it's like the ultimate, most horrifying game of musical chairs. But with a submarine, how does a parent even process that? You're fighting to reach a destination where, mathematically, you will be left behind to die.
It fundamentally changes the DNA of the movie. It shifts from a broad global spectacle to this agonizingly claustrophobic moral dilemma. Every single step they take is a countdown to a permanent separation.
Yeah.
And to go back to Ben releasing those balloons, that is a masterclass in suspense. Because when you look at this barren, lethal wasteland, you know instinctively that a bright floating balloon isn't a flare for a rescue chopper.
No, definitely not.
It's a dinner bell.
And the dinner bell gets answered really fast. Here's where it gets really interesting, because the immediate threat they face isn't a lack of oxygen or the treacherous terrain or even a lack of water. It's human nature. A stranger approaches the stranded yacht, and he's got a dog with him. Tom, being civilized, doing what civilized people do, he offers the man a bottle of water.
It's the ultimate test of the social contract.
Yes. Like, put yourself in Tom's shoes. The world just ended. Your first instinct is charity. You want to believe we are all in this together. And how does the stranger repay him? He brutally kills Tom with a spear.
Just out of nowhere.
Just to take what they have. It's so visceral.
The violence is shockingly fast. The social contract doesn't slowly degrade over months like in most post-apocalyptic stories, It evaporates in hours.
Yeah, and Julia immediately shifts gears. She hides the kids, she shoves a flare gun into Cassie's hands and locks herself in the bathroom while the stranger just ravages their food supplies.
She goes into pure survival mode.
Exactly. She manages to escape through a hole in the hull, but the stranger's dog attacks her. She is actually forced to kill the dog with a metal spike just to survive.
And when the stranger finds his dead dog, the source material describes him as going completely berserk.
Yeah.
Like full John Wick.
Oh, completely.
He tracks Julia down and brutally attacks her, nearly beating her to death.
But this is the moment Cassie, the teenage daughter, really has to step up. She overcomes this paralyzing fear. She uses that flare gun Julia gave her and shoots the stranger point blank. She sets him and the entire yacht on fire.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights a terrifying reality of this new world. Those innocent birthday balloons been released. They
Yeah,
directly led this violent scavenger to their doorstep. The film is laying down a very harsh, unforgiving rule here. In this environment, innocence is a huge liability.
it really is.
Ben, acting like a civilized kid in a world that isn't civilized anymore, got his father killed.
It is a ruthless ecosystem. So with their yacht burning, Julia, Cassie, and Ben have to flee. They grab a map, whatever limited supplies they can carry, and they begin this absolute nightmare trek across the seabed.
It looks so grueling.
And we need to talk about this environment because it is incredibly lethal. They are walking past literal fields of dead sharks. They have to navigate around these massive hazardous sinkholes filled with toxic chemical-laced water.
There is a profound irony in how the film portrays the setting here. We traditionally think of the bottom of the ocean as the cradle of life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This mysterious, pristine, untouched frontier. But with the water stripped away, it is revealed to be a massive graveyard of human pollution.
It's pretty grim.
They are navigating toxic chemical spills, crashed commercial airplanes, and endless fields of plastic debris. The primary danger they face on this seabed isn't just the raw forces of nature, it's the toxic mess humanity left behind, completely exposed for them to walk through.
It's basically a wasteland of our own making, and it takes a massive toll on them physically. Early on, Ben refuses to drink his water. He's trying to conserve it, but he quickly becomes severely dehydrated.
Naturally.
And when Julia goes to give him her water, she realizes her bottle is completely empty. This leads to this incredibly tense, bitter argument between Julia and Cassie.
I mean, they are grieving Tom, they are terrified, and they are exhausted. But they eventually find a surreal kind of shelter.
Oh, the airplane.
Yeah, a crashed commercial airplane that clearly went down into the ocean years ago. It's eerie, but inside that fuselage, they get a brief moment of warmth. Julia tells the kids the story of how she and Tom first met.
It's a nice little break from the chaos.
It's a vital scene, really, because it reminds them of what they are actually trying to preserve. It's not just about surviving, it's about holding on to their humanity.
But of course, the world won't let them rest. The stranger, who somehow survived being set on fire by the flare, he has tracked them to the plane.
He's relentless.
But Julia is not the same woman who was on that yacht. She anticipates him, she sets a trap, catches him off guard, and she kills him. She avenges Tom.
Wow.
Right. So what does this all mean for Julia? We watch her literally transform from a healer, a doctor who swore an oath to save lives, into a fierce, calculated survivor setting lethal traps. It's a stunning evolution.
It is, and it's born entirely out of maternal necessity. She recognizes that the rules of civilization are gone.
Yeah.
But even as she protects them from the human threat, the environmental threat, that pollution we talked about, it catches up to them.
Yeah.
Ben, who's desperate with thirst, sneaks a drink from a puddle, but it's toxic runoff.
He falls severely ill. Julia and Cassie have to scramble to build a makeshift shelter out of the surrounding plastic garbage just to nurse him through the night.
Which brings us to a sequence that shifts the film from a psychological thriller into pure, visceral horror.
Oh, man, this part.
Night falls while they are in this plastic shelter and they hear this sound. A massive horde of screeching crabs is swarming across the seabed, devouring everything in their path.
It is pure nightmare fuel. You cannot reason with a swarm. So the family runs for their lives, and they find a massive, stranded cargo ship. And there are other survivors inside it.
Finally, some other people.
Right. So Julia begs them to open the doors, but the people inside lock them out. Out of pure fear, they refuse to help. So Julia, Cassie, and Ben are forced to climb the outside of the shipping containers to get above the swarm.
This is a brutal exploration of the prisoner's dilemma, honestly.
So?
Well, the survivors inside the ship lock the doors because they calculate that isolation is safety. But nature doesn't care about those boundaries. The crabs infiltrate the ship's hull through a breach. The people inside are completely massacred in a confined space.
Oh, that locked door trope. It really flips it on its head.
Exactly. Julie and her kids survive precisely because the cruelty of others forced them out of the so-called safe zone and up to higher ground.
It's a bitter irony. Though, it wasn't without cost. During the chaotic climb, Julia's leg is badly bitten by the crabs. The next morning, after this blinding sandstorm passes, we see just how far Julia is willing to push her physical limits.
Yeah, this scene is intense.
Her wound is deeply infected, so she takes fire and cauterizes her own leg. I mean, talk about grit. It really makes you ask yourself, what are the absolute limits of human endurance when your kids' lives are on the line?
She is running on pure adrenaline and maternal instinct at this point, but she's also highly practical. She manages to search the upper decks of the ship and actually finds food, clean water, and a working radio.
Huge win.
Right. She contacts Neo, the researcher in the sub, and Neo shoots a signal flare into the sky so they can pinpoint the final destination.
The end is finally in sight, but the final stretch is just agonizing. To reach the submarine, they have to navigate through this narrow, rocky ravine, almost like a cave system. The geological instability causes a rockfall. The rocks collapse, physically separating the injured Julia from her two children.
Just heartbreaking.
She is trapped on one side, and they are on the other.
And this is where the brutal math of their situation finally catches up to them. Julia knows her leg is ruined. She can barely walk, let alone climb out of this ravine before the ocean returns.
Right.
And more importantly, she knows the submarine only holds 2 more people anyway. She always knew she wasn't getting on that sub.
Yeah.
So she makes the ultimate sacrifice. She gives Cassie a direct command: leave me behind, take your brother, and go survive.
It's devastating to watch. Cassie and Ben manage to push forward. They reach the submarine, but when they open the hatch, they find Now dying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Now was attacked by the crabs earlier and didn't survive the injuries, and suddenly, in a split second, the math changes. With Now dying, there is a spare seat in the submarine. There's room for their mother.
But time is up. They can literally see the ocean returning in the distance. The week is over.
This is where I absolutely cheered. Cassie disobeys the classic save yourselves, leave the injured behind movie trope, and it's Ben who sparks it.
Right, the bracelet?
Yes. He takes off that protective bracelet, the birthday gift from Julia, all the way back before the world broke, and he gives it to Cassie. He tells her to go back for their mom. The fact that Ben hands back the protective bracelet, I mean, it's not just a piece of jewelry anymore.
No, definitely not.
It acts as a physical anchor of their family bond, giving Cassie the courage to go back into the danger zone.
It's a beautiful full circle moment. Cassie races back to the ravine. She pulls her mother through the collapsed rocks just seconds before Julia is about to be overrun by the pursuing crab horde.
Just in the nick of time.
Literally. She physically drags her mother to the submarine.
They throw Julia inside, Cassie jumps in, they seal the heavy metal hatch, and they look out the viewport. And what they see is incomprehensible. It is a wave hundreds of meters high, charging toward them at impossible speeds.
Terrifying.
The magnetic field has snapped back. The ocean is resetting to its rightful place.
If you think of the displaced ocean like a massive rubber band that was pulled taut by the initial polar shift round.
Okay, yeah.
The magnetic field reverting is the rubber band finally snapping back into place. The kinetic force of that returning wave hits the submarine like a freight train. It tumbles them, knocking everyone inside completely unconscious.
And when they finally wake up, the violent motion has stopped. They open the hatch and step outside. The sub has washed ashore on the ruins of a coastal city. The world as they knew it is completely devastated, leveled by the sheer force of the returning water.
This is all gone.
Yeah. But they survived. The family is together, and they resolve to figure out how to navigate this terrifying new reality.
This raises an important question, though.
What's that?
The film intentionally doesn't end with a neat rescue by a helicopter or the military. Surviving the exposed seabed, the human threats, the crabs, that was only phase 1. The film ends with this stark realization that humanity has been entirely reset.
Yeah, true.
They have no communication, no infrastructure. The real survival story is actually just beginning the moment the credits roll.
It's a phenomenal journey. From a birthday party on a luxury yacht to cauterizing wounds on a shipwreck, Survive is just a relentless look at the unimaginable horrors of a dry seabed, the rapid breakdown of the social contract, and the overwhelming, unstoppable forces of nature.
It really is a masterpiece of tension.
We promised you a complete review of the film, and it absolutely delivers on its terrifying premise. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final, lingering thought to ponder on your own.
Something that builds on the very physics of the catastrophe we just watched unfold.
Exactly. The film ends with the ocean violently returning to its rightful place. But if the poles suddenly snap back with enough force to hurl oceans across the globe, what happened to the continents?
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about it. If the ocean floor became a desert, did the previous land masses sink when the water vanished? And when it returned, did the tectonic plates shift back exactly as they were? When Julia, Cassie, and Ben step out of that submarine into the ruined coastal city, we have to wonder, is the geography of Earth so radically changed that they might truly be the last ones left on the only landmass that survived?
A chilling thought to end on. The map of the world might just be completely blank.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.